Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi, guys. How's everyone doing? I see the chat is already busy. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, guys, I am doing something dangerous today. How's my audio? Is everything okay? Make sure you like the stream so that more people end up seeing this. Is this allowed on YouTube to basically just play a whole episode of Nick Fuentes and just review it? Is that allowed? Like, are we going to get nuked off of YouTube? YouTube, we do not agree with this man and his views. We're just reviewing it for the sake of responding to it and analyzing it and challenging it. So please, the gods of YouTube, guys, let's everybody pray. Everybody pray with me to the gods of YouTube. Please have mercy upon us. Do not strike us down. Let us do this, okay? We're not. Oh my God, guys, this is dangerous. I hope maybe like the stream. Maybe YouTube will think, maybe that will make the YouTube gods happy. Anyways, what do you guys think about this? Should I do this? Is this a good idea? Like, would you guys welcome this? Because this guy is dangerous and he's growing, and I didn't see that many people just responding to an entire episode of him. And given that the whole Epstein situation is now a hot topic and everybody's talking about that, I wanted to see what Nick Fuentes has to say about that and just respond to that. See. Okay, so let's just get started. No more. Let's get into the meat of all of this instead of just talking. Okay.
Our featured story, we're going to talk all about the Epstein files, which were finally published this week, although not all of them. And you might recall where we left off on this story. Trump had closed this case in July. And understand what actually took place. He didn't stall. He didn't postpone the release of the files. He didn't even say he wouldn't release them. In July, he said there are no files. Trump said there are no Epstein files.
I thought he says there's no list. And there's no list. There are just files. I think that's what he said. Isn't that what he said?
They don't exist. And understand what actually took place. He didn't stall. He didn't postpone the release of the files. He didn't even say he wouldn't release them. In July, he said there are no files. Trump said there are no Epstein files. They don't exist. There aren't any. He said the only thing that is left to disclose is all child porn. In other words,
okay, so he's wrong. The statement Trump said there were no Epstein files. Okay, so I did a fact check. It says their statement Trump said there are no Epstein files in July is false, or at least misleading. What is true, in July 2025, Trump labeled the Epstein files push a hoax. Meanwhile, the DOJ said they found no client list and would not release further files. There is no credible documentation of Trump saying there are no Epstein files. Yeah, so they're saying there's no list. They didn't say there's no files. The DOJ was involved with thousands of pages of files. There's a difference between saying there's no list and there are no files. So wrong already, guys. We're already a few seconds in and he's misrepresenting the facts.
It's the actual video or photo recordings of...
Somebody's saying it's a paraphrase. It's an incorrect paraphrase, because when you say there is no list and people think that you're lying because there are a lot of files, then you need to clarify that he wasn't saying that there are no files, because it's important to... It's not an accurate paraphrasing, because if you say it like that, it looks like Trump was lying. And he wasn't lying, because he wasn't denying the existence of the files.
Of underage girls. He said, that's the only words. They don't exist. There aren't any. He said the only thing that is left to disclose is all child porn. In other words, it's the actual video or photo recordings of underage girls. He said, those are the only articles of evidence that are out there. There's no emails. There's no.
I think the thing that the administration was saying was not that the remaining stuff are just the PDF videos. I think what I remember them saying is that everything else remaining will be damaging to a whole bunch of victims and innocent people. That's what they actually said.
No tax letters. There's no other persons of interest, no third parties. There's no other investigations. They said it.
No, that's not what they said. They said there's ongoing investigations, and releasing more files will actually damage those investigations. That's what they said.
None of that is real. To which the people replied, that's obviously a lie. And not only
no, what you're saying is a lie. What he's saying is a lie.
Is it a lie, but it's a cover-up. Now you're actively complicit and involved in the cover-up of the Epstein conspiracy, which is arguably worse. And so this happened back in July. Congress was about to go into recess for the summer, but they took their recess almost a month early because Republicans and Democrats were going to work together to force the DOJ to release the files. So
somebody in the chat saying, hold on, who cares what this pervert says? Who cares? Are you John is saying, who cares what this pervert says? Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? Have you been asleep? Have you been under a rock? This guy represents the fastest growing political movement in America. What the hell are you talking about?
Congress literally went home early. They shut down all their official business and they went home early for no reason other than that if they stayed in session, they might have been forced to release the Epstein files. So they went into recess. Then when they returned, there was the government shutdown. It's interesting timing, isn't it?
Spoken like every single conspiracy theorist that I've ever seen. Yeah, you have no evidence that the government shutdown was about not releasing the Epstein files. But that guy, doesn't he sound like every single other conspiracy theorist? Yeah, it's just very interesting. Couldn't be a coincidence. And also the same Congress people are now trying to vote. They're looking at Trump's popularity dropping, and they might actually use the Epstein files to try to take a position against them. And actually Trump came out recently and just said vote for them to be released. Come on, go ahead and do it. So actually Trump did a really smart move, actually. That was actually very surprising because he came out and said to the congressmen to just vote in favor of releasing them. Go ahead and do it, which actually disarms anybody that wanted to use that vote as a way to challenge his power. But we'll see what happens. Sort
of convenient. Then all of a sudden, the Democrats shut down the government for no reason at all.
It wasn't for no reason at all. Are you kidding me? The Democrats were trying to get subsidies for the Obamacare. Wasn't that the reason? Isn't Obamacare like basically running out of money because it was always a bad plan to begin with? And they're trying to use the government, shut down the government as a way to intimidate everybody else to get subsidies for their healthcare plan. Guys, I'm not American, but I think like if you're American, wasn't that the reason? That was the reason, wasn't it? Holy crap, this guy is oh my God. This is just basically random conspiracy theories.
Shutdown. It's interesting timing, isn't it? Sort of convenient. Then all of a sudden, the Democrats shut down the government for no reason at all.
There was a reason. What the fuck? Oh, people are saying you are correct. Guys, I'm not even American. I'm an Iranian Canadian, and this guy's an American, and I know why you had the government shut down, and he doesn't. He's not just an American. He's a leader of the fastest growing political movement in America, and he didn't know why we had the government shut down in the US.
They shut down early, then they go on recess, then they come back, and for literally no reason, the Democrats said it was about Obamacare subsidies, but as we discussed earlier in the week,
okay,
they agreed to open the government without getting Obamacare subsidies.
Because it was getting out of hand, because it was the longest government shutdown in US history, if I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken. Because the people were getting angry. That was the reason.
So that was not the real reason. They shut down the government, and it's the longest government shutdown in history.
That's why they had to stop it. That's the reason why they had to stop it, you idiot. Oh my God.
45 days. Now that the government has reopened, okay, understand the timeline. This has been like a 4-month shutdown from July. The DOJ shuts it down on July 7th. Congress.
So this guy thinks that the Democrats and Trump are working with each other. They're on the same side, trying to basically stop the Epstein files from being released. Guys, this is the reason why so many people online believe in all these conspiracy theories, because they don't spend half a second fact checking these things. Like the lie that he mentioned about what Trump said, it took me 5 seconds to fact check that. But people just listen to these things and then they just believe it. And guys, if you've noticed the way I speak, like I keep saying, like, this was the reason, if I'm not mistaken. This is what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, because I am trying to be skeptical, because I'm not certain about my positions and I want to be corrected by you when I'm speaking. But these people, they just speak with so much certainty without actually providing evidence, and everything they say falls apart with half a second of research. I mean, this guy doesn't believe in the Holocaust. What else do you expect?
Goes into recess a couple weeks after that. They come back, longest government shutdown ever. They just reopened the government this week. And now here it is. The House Oversight Committee releases the first tranche of Epstein files. And this is a story from the New York Times. We're going to work through it.
Guys, if they release all the Epstein files, I think what's going to happen is that the same people will come out and be like, well, obviously this is not the real files. They changed it. Who do you think we're idiots? Like, if it doesn't incriminate the people that they say it should be incriminating, then they're going to come out and say they're all fake. They're giving us the fake files. Fake files. Fake files. I call it here fake files. That's what they're going to say.
And we'll talk about some of the specific emails that were released. That says, quote, the mocking and accusatory voice of Jeffrey Epstein emerged from a trove of more than 20,000 emails made public by lawmakers on Wednesday, including his claim that President Trump once spent hours at my...
Somebody's saying, where's your President Trudeau? You idiot. Trudeau was never a president. Are you... What the fuck?
House on more than 20,000 emails made public by lawmakers on Wednesday, including his claim that President Trump once spent hours at my house on the island with a young...
See, this is why you can't release all the files. They're going to say anybody has ever been on the island did stuff to kids. I bet you is the cleaning lady that was basically on the island, did she also did stuff to kids? Like anybody and anyone that went to that island that these people are going to claim had something to do with you know what. That's why you cannot release the remaining files, because you're going to ruin people's lives that had nothing to do with any of these crimes.
Woman who later accused Mr. Epstein of sexually abusing and trafficking her when she was a teenager. So, according to the emails, Epstein places Trump potentially on his island while child sexual abuse was occurring. This is in the first trove.
Oh my God. So anybody, because that was happening in that island, anybody that has ever been to that island has been involved in this. Again, thank you for giving us the actual reason why we cannot release all the files, because there's a lot of names of innocent people in those files, and now everybody is going to attack them as PDF files.
In a series of emails with friends and associates, Mr. Epstein described Mr. Trump as a dirt.
Somebody in the chat is saying, yeah, there are all pedos, fuck them. See, exactly. This is the reason why you cannot release, you shouldn't be releasing all the files. the whole world was going to be turning against even the innocent people mentioned in those files.
Dirty businessman who was border. This is in the first trove. In a series of emails with friends and associates, Mr. Epstein described Mr. Trump as a dirty businessman who was borderline insane, untrustworthy, and worse in real life and up close than the image he sought to portray to the public. The document dump was the latest act in the rapidly unfolding political drama engulfing Speaker Mike Johnson and the Republican majority. They shuttered the House for the past 2 months, in part to forestall a bipartisan effort to force a floor vote on a bill which would compel the Justice Department and FBI to release a separate set of documents, this one involving their investigation into Mr. Epstein and his longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. That bid gathered enough supporters to force a vote within weeks, and Mr. Johnson said he would relent and bring it to a vote next week. Mr. Trump urged Republicans to reject any effort to revive a discussion of his relationship with Epstein, blaming Democrats for the release of the documents in a post on social media, writing they were trying to bring up the Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown. So let's work through this piece by piece. First of all, maybe this is the most obvious thing about the files. The release of this batch of 20,000 emails proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it is black and white, undeniable that Trump is a liar. Trump lied about the files, and he lied in the furtherance of a conspiracy and a cover-up of the Epstein scandal.
What did he lie? Which part? I mean, I'm not saying he didn't lie, but the part that you said he lied about, I fact-checked that, and he wasn't lying about that. You just misrepresented what Trump said. So what did he lie? Where's the lie?
Because what his Department of Justice said in July is that there are no files.
That's not what they said, you fucking idiot. The Department of Justice said there is no list. There is no list of people that he has leverage over. That list does not exist. The Department of Justice at that time was working on the files, and they were constantly mentioning the files. How could they say there are no files when they were telling everybody that we're working on the files, we're going through the files? That's not what the Department of Justice said. What the hell are you talking about? They said there is no list. Saying that list does not exist is not the same as saying there are no files. Holy shit.
They didn't say there are no persons of interest. They didn't say there is no third-party investigation. They didn't say that there's nothing germane to a future investigation. They said there are no files, and they insisted upon this for months. They denied the existence of the files. And we all knew that was a lie. We knew that because it was reported to us that in May, Trump instructed the FBI to go through those files and look for his name. And they found...
Here, guys, here's what actually happened. On July 7th, 2025, the United States Department of Justice, DOJ, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, issued a memo stating there was no credible evidence of a client list of uncharged third parties connected to Epstein's trafficking, and said the files did not support the files that exist did not support further investigations of uncharged parties. On around July 15, 2025, Trump publicly called the Epstein files push a hoax and said he viewed it as such. According to a report by the Wall Street Journal dated July 23, 2025, the DOJ had briefed Trump in May 2025 that his name appeared multiple times in Epstein-related files. Again, not a list, files. And then what we have here, so what was not said, this is Trump did not make a clear public statement in July that there are no Epstein files in a literal sense. The DOJ said there were no verifiable client list and declined further releases. Not that there are absolutely no files at all. They claim that Trump said there are no Epstein files, oversimplifies and misstates the actual public statements and documents. There you go. fact checked it for you, live on air for you, very easy.
All over the place. And they told him that. And Trump lied that he didn't know whether his name was in the files, but he did because he was worried about it. He knew it. And he got the FBI to comb through the files and confirm it. Then months later, he said there are no files. Well, as of yesterday, now that we have the 20,000 emails, we know that he lied. There are Epstein files, and what was delivered to the public were emails and other communications, and they do contain Trump's name. And some of it is relevant, and some of it is not, and some of it
and none of it shows that Trump was involved with any of the children. And that's why you shouldn't be releasing the files, because as soon as your name is in the files, people think that you did stuff to children. Nothing that has been released from Trump about Trump shows anywhere at all that Trump did anything to children. Not a single one. Somebody says in the chat, yes, it does. Thank you for proving why the files shouldn't be released. At least the remaining ones, because idiots like you are just going to find everybody that their name is on those files guilty.
You can chalk it up to a personal rivalry.
Somebody saying, yes, it does. Cry harder. Why would I cry about this? This doesn't affect my life at all. It seems like you're crying. Projection much? Why would I cry about this? Like, is my name on those files? Like, why would this affect me?
Or feud, and maybe some of it is relevant. But what we know at the minimum is that Trump lied about the files to cover them up. That is awfully suspicious given that Jeffrey Epstein died under the custody of Trump's government in 2019.
Oh my God. Trump apparently Trump killed Epstein because he was one of his clients. Do you guys actually believe that? Let me see in the chat. How many of you think Trump killed Epstein because he was one of Epstein's clients? Who actually believes that in the chat? Who believes this? Do you guys actually believe this? Let me know in the chat.
And people
but by the way, Nick, why is it that you all of a sudden believe all of this? You know, after Trump disappointed you with regards to Israel, you want to talk about coincidences? There's another coincidence. I mean, you know that Epstein died under the Trump administration. You know, for it's been more than 6 years since you know that. So how come that's now an issue now? How come it wasn't an issue before? Is this more to do? Is this about Israel? This is about Israel, isn't it? Okay, so let me see. Most of you said no. Okay, some people said yes. Sounds okay. Yes, somebody said sounds stupid. Okay, good. Most of you are saying no.
Suspicious given that Jeffrey Epstein died under the custody of Trump's government in 2019. And people forget this. But Epstein was rearrested by Trump's DOJ. He was rearrested when Trump was president. And where Epstein died, where he allegedly killed himself, it was in a facility that was technically under the jurisdiction of Bill Barr, Trump's attorney general. So this is not a good look. If a sex trafficker, serial blackmailer, intelligence operative, or mercenary, if he is arrested and dies under mysterious circumstances in Trump's custody, and Trump comes back to power and then covers up all the files relevant to the investigation of that person and his death, it's confirmed that he lies. And when the files come out, he's named all over them. Not a good look, to say the least.
I mean, he is correct that because most people will not actually look into this that much, this looks really bad for Trump. You know, on a surface level, this is the perfect scenario for a Groyper revolution with the excuse of rich, powerful people doing evil shit and then trying to hide it. Remember that, the far right, like the neo-Nazis, I'm not talking about patriotic people, I'm talking like neo-Nazis are very much like communists and the woke left when it comes to their tactics. Like they're very similar. Like they hate powerful people. They believe in conspiracy theories. They believe the Jews are doing their evil things to control the world. They believe all that nonsense. They believe that they're the victim. They play the victimhood card. Uh, they're very similar in their tactics. So this works very perfectly. Like evil, powerful people doing things to children and then using their powers to try to hide it. The Epstein files is a perfect, weapon for the Groypers to do the revolution within the conservative movement. It's working. It's working very well. And you can see Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's taking full advantage of this, and Nick Fuentes is taking full advantage of this. And this is dangerous, guys. Even if you're a lefty and you hate Trump, you have to admit that these motherfuckers are so much more dangerous. Like you need to be. I don't care who you are, even if you're center left. Between the war, like in the war between these two, Groypers and Trump, you need to be on Trump's side. Like, this is like on a whole different level of crazy coming at us.
That's in the first place.
Somebody's saying then why Epstein go to jail? Because he was guilty. Okay, he was guilty. I didn't say Epstein wasn't guilty, you idiot. I'm saying Trump. There's no evidence for Trump being guilty. Oh my God.
Now, let's talk about Trump's response.
Somebody's saying this guy is definitely a Zionist. Proudly so. Proudly so. I'm an Iranian Zionist. I don't know how. You think you uncovered something? I have entire shows saying how proud I am to be a Zionist.
To say the least. That's in the first place. Now, let's talk about Trump's response. Trump says that this entire thing is political. It's a political attack. It's a distraction from Trump's agenda. He says that Democrats are leaning into it. He contends that Thomas Massie, a Republican who has voted for the release of the documents, he says Massie is leaning into it because they are out to get Trump and they want to derail the agenda. And by the way, I think there is some truth to this. Has to be. Because it is true that Joe Biden was president for 4 years and Democrats controlled the House and the Senate under Joe Biden. And so if the Democrats wanted disclosure on the files, they could have released it from 2021 to 2020.
Let me guess. The reason why the Democrats didn't release it is because their names are in the files as well. On the list. Sorry, not the files, the client list, right? Is that the reason why the Democrats also didn't release it? Is that what he's going to say?
23. And if Republicans and Democrats wanted to release the files, they could have done it at any time between 2023 and 2025.
They actually can't because it's illegal to put some of the innocent people's, especially some of the victims, in danger by releasing the files and putting them in danger. And it's also... there's a court order for not releasing the remaining files. You guys do understand that already thousands of the pages of the files have already been released, and the remaining ones, there's a court order for them not to be released for the protection of the victims and also for the sake of the remaining investigations. Do you guys know that? That's the reason. They actually can't do that.
There is some truth to that. And you see a lot of Republican operatives on Twitter saying this. This is the line. They say, who cares about Epstein? Some of them argue that Epstein wasn't even a pedophile. They say Epstein was preying on girls who were 15, 16 years old. And other people are saying that that's not technically a child. It's maybe unethical, but it's not the same category, which maybe there's some truth to that.
He was arrested, so whatever he did was illegal under U.S. law. We already know that.
But this is sort of the line. They say, if Democrats really cared, they would have gotten to the bottom of it. They say, if Republicans cared, they would have gotten to the bottom of it. They're doing it now for political reasons. That's the Republican line. Here's the problem. And anybody that tells you that, tell them this. If this is a distraction, then why doesn't Trump release the files then?
Because they can't, because of the victims, because of the continuing investigation, because of the court order. Look at him. He thinks he has such a good point. Like, wow, you're so genius. Wow, why didn't anyone else ask this? A million other people have asked this, and they haven't bothered to look at the actual reason. They haven't spent 5 minutes to actually go look at the actual reason. Oh, my God.
If Trump is innocent, maybe he's named in the files, but it's not criminal. Maybe he's named in the files, but it's not damning. If all it is a big circus and it's just meant to distract from Trump's important work, then why would he not release the files himself?
I mean, he's not an absolute monarch. Maybe it's not like he can do anything he wants. You know, there's limitations to the power of the president in the United States. You know, it's not just his decision, right? You know, you have courts and you have the FBI and you have a whole bunch of different institutions that sometimes, even if they're under the control of the department under the White House, they still have some decision making. Like, they still have some independence in their own decisions. Like, maybe he's like, when you become the president, they don't just give you a magic wand that you could just do everything you want. Maybe that's the reason.
He runs the DOJ. He runs the FBI.
No, I mean, if he runs the FBI so completely, then why was he at war with the FBI for so many? Why was he complaining about the FBI even when he was in power during his first term? Like, if everything in FBI happens exactly the way he wants them, then why was there so much conflict?
If he picked up the phone and called Pam Bondi, she would do it. No, if he called Kash Patel, he would do it. The files are under his jurisdiction. He has the power to release them. So this doesn't really work. You can't say it's a giant distraction and the only reason they want to release the files is to hurt me. There's nothing really there. In other words, I'm not guilty. I'm not a criminal. This is just being drummed up basically as a political attack. You can't say that, but at the same time say, I'm going to lie about the existence of the files. I'm going to bury the files. I'm going to actively work to cover them up and obstinately refuse to release them. You can't have both at the same time. If you're guilty, you're covering them up, and we need a valid reason why they're being buried.
Okay, so here I did a fact check. Guys, this is so easy. Why is it so easy? Okay, it says it's not solely Trump's decision. The release of the files involve multiple branches of government, Congress, DOJ, and courts, and legal investigative constraints such as protections for grand jury materials, victims' identities, and ongoing investigations. So this is not just Trump's decision. That's why there is a vote in the Congress, because the president cannot just decide this on himself. Trump's reversal suggests that he did not always uphold full release. He previously opposed or dismissed it. So the idea that he's always been in control of the full release is wrong. Legal experts indicate that even if Trump wants the files released, legal and investigative rules, for example, e.g., if there is a pending investigations, can prevent or delay release. So yeah, guys, this is so easy to fact check thing. It took me 30 seconds to realize that this is not all just Trump's decision. So even if he wanted to release the files, it's not up to him. It's not completely up to him. So wow, guys, look at this. This is just too easy to show the amount of bullshit these people are spreading here.
If you're
somebody saying, oh my God, somebody in the chat says, you're wrong. Oh my God, what a great argument, sir or madam. You destroyed all the facts that I presented here to you by just saying you're wrong. I have now been enlightened. I now see my misunderstanding of this case. You have You have shown me the lights. You have educated me, and I take back everything I said. I'm so grateful that you just said you're wrong. Like I just read a whole bunch of facts to you, but you in response just wrote you're wrong, and now I have been proven wrong by just that. It's amazing. I didn't know you could do that.
Not guilty and it's just political, then you need to disclose the files and release them. And then there is no political attack. But you can't have it both ways. That much is obvious. And that's the problem. And this gets to the fundamental issue. Whether there is impropriety or only the appearance of impropriety, it makes no difference. Trump campaigned last year on disclosure, on transparency. His words, not ours. He made the promise. We didn't. He, and by the way, his entire group, Don Jr. and Fox News and all these conservative activists for like 5 years, all they did was talk about Epstein Island and the Epstein list and the Black Book and Bill Clinton. They did that for 5 years.
Yeah.
Ever since
bullshit.
Epstein died in 2019, this has been the line right up through the last election. And Trump promised to that end, I will be different.
By the way, to his credit, nothing I say is going to convince the idiots who already believe in these conspiracy theories. So this is a good weapon to use against Trump. Like the people who want to believe that this conspiracy is real, it doesn't matter how many facts you throw at them. This is a cult. This is like a religion. They have already made up their mind, and they're not going to, like, imagine in a world where people hate the powerful and they hate the establishment and they hate the system and they hate the rich and powerful. You think, like, if you come and say, well, actually, there's no evidence that they did any of this, do you think they'll be like, oh, you're right, actually, there is no evidence. You're right, I should have actually been more skeptical. Do you think that's going to happen? Obviously not. You're going to be like, oh my God, you're supporting evil, powerful pedos, you freaking Zionists. Like that's the response is going to be. Like if you look like you're protecting rich, powerful people who abuse children, nobody's actually these people are not gonna actually listen to your arguments or your evidence and your facts. They're just gonna be dismissing you. So that's why it doesn't matter if Nick is wrong. This works. Like, and he's going to win this battle.
I will clarify everything. We will have a transparent government. You will know where the government stands, whether we're owned and black.
Wait, what? We
didn't. He, and by the way, his entire group, Don Jr. and Fox News and all these conservative activists for like 5 years, all they did was talk about Epstein Island and the Epstein list and the Black Book and Bill Clinton. They did that for 5 years.
Yeah, they were wrong too.
Ever since Epstein died in 2019, this has been the line right up through the last election. And Trump promised to that end, I will be different. I will clarify everything. We will have a transparent government. You will know where the government stands, whether we're owned and blackmailed, whether there is this intelligence penetration of our.
All right, hold on. We got a super chat. So the super chat says, you do realize that Epstein was connected to money laundering as well, right? Yeah, I know. Major money connections, multiple banks as well. Yeah, I know that. I'm not saying he was, you do know I'm not saying Epstein was innocent, right? Trump doesn't have to be a pedo to be implicated. Yeah, he doesn't have to be, but do you have anything that shows that he committed any crimes? Like he was connected to any of this? I know that he doesn't have to be a PDF file to be implicated, but do you have any evidence that shows that that does incriminate him in any way? So, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, but nothing I said negate what you're saying. So you're correct. Everything you said is correct, but I'm still waiting for evidence. And guys, if evidence comes out that Trump was involved in any of this, at that time, that would be the correct time to believe it. But right now, there is zero evidence. And again, I'm not a huge Trump fan. Like Trump does certain things that I like and many things that I don't like. Like I'm not like I'm not a major Trump supporter. But the fact is right now that there's no evidence that shows that Trump was involved in any of this
system and whether they're extorting people.
And it's interesting because a lot of the people who are calling me scum in the chat, they used to be Trump supporters, and they are the same people who would come to me and call me and to say that I have Trump derangement syndrome every time I criticize Trump. And now that I'm saying that Trump, there's nothing here that incriminates Trump, now they're saying that they're calling me scum. It's amazing.
Or not. Whether we're owned and blackmailed, whether there is this intelligence penetration of our system, and whether they're extorting people or not. And that's really kind of important about the legitimacy of our government. He promised that. And then what we have seen basically ever since is obstruction, lies, and cover-ups. Think about the timeline. He says he'll release the files. He gets in, and there's this big show of releasing the files. He appoints Anna Paulina Luna from the House to oversee the process, and it's fake.
Well, I mean, a lot of the files were released. I don't know what you guys talking about. Do they know that a lot of the files were released? Only the parts that would cause problem for victims, and the parts that some innocent people who were mentioned who were accused of things in the files, maybe that wasn't proven, that would get them in trouble among the public, would ruin their lives, even though they are not criminals. And also the parts that are part of ongoing investigations, those are the parts that hasn't been released. So when they said that they will come and release the files, they did release a lot of the files.
Then they do this big binder release photo op at the White House with DC Drano and the idiot Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec, the goof, and Scott Pressler in his cowboy boots and ponytail.
Okay, so now the problem is the boots and the ponytail? Okay, I got it. Would it be better if he didn't have cowboy boots and a ponytail?
Do you remember that ridiculous demonstration? And all these people are out there outside the East Wing with their binders for the photo op. Oh, look, we're most transparent admin in history, by the way. And it's BS. The whole thing's fake. No files, no disclosure.
I mean, the files, what do you mean no files? So many of the files were released. Holy shit. Hold on,
Everybody quickly realizes this. They say, wait a second, upload what you gave them in the binders to the internet, which they then did. And then people comb through the files and they determine there's nothing new in them.
Okay, because a lot of the files were already released.
So then people say, what's really going on here? You appoint a Congress.
So yeah, a lot of the material has been made public, but obviously not everything. So on September 2nd, 2025, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee released over 33,000 pages of documents related to the Epstein case. These include court documents, police interviews, audio recordings, and other materials from investigations. Earlier in 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI released a memo stating that after reviewing their holdings, they found no credible evidence of a so-called client list of uncharged third parties. I don't know what you guys want. So, okay, we got another super chat saying, if Trump was implicated anywhere, I would suspect it would be in conjunction with working with Epstein to secure funding for his real estate projects. Real estate is popular for money laundering. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, needs to be. First, we need to see the evidence. Then we need to believe things. Okay, I'm not gonna guess if somebody has committed a crime or not before I see the evidence for it. I think the belief in somebody being a criminal comes after there is evidence for it, not before. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's the most likely thing, if there is anything. I'm not sure.
Congresswoman to get to the bottom of it. You do this big disclosure, it's all fake. The FBI and the DOJ respond, the files are on our desk.
Yeah, the files, and they released them.
Then in May, Trump tells the FBI, go through the files, look for my name, because he knows it's there. They tell him it's there.
Yeah. Well, I can see why Trump would be concerned, because obviously with Epstein, when you're digging through his entire fucking life, and given that Epstein and Trump had a relation, of course, when you're investigating someone's entire life who had a relationship with Trump, Trump's name will come up. Obviously, his name would be there. These two were buddies at some point before they had a fight. And I can see, given that how you idiots think that anyone's name mentioned in the files means that he's guilty, I can see why Trump would be concerned about the files where his name is mentioned. Hold on. We got another super chat. Somebody says, as long as they don't actually define what is the Epstein files, they can always roll the issue further. There is no client list like they expected. Exactly. There is no client list, but yeah, exactly. That's actually a very good point. Thank you for the super chat. They're like, oh, what files? They released the files. They're like, yeah. You were looking for a client list, and there doesn't seem to be any.
In July, this is the best part. Bibi Netanyahu visits the White House for the third time on 7.
Oh my God. Guys, this is always about the Jews. With these motherfuckers, it's always about the Jews. It's always somehow, he visited the United States for the third time. Well, I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with Hezbollah, Hamas, the Islamic Republic, the ongoing war in Gaza. Maybe those are like how, I don't know how I know you're going to find a way to connect this to Epstein files, but I can see why Netanyahu would be flying. Maybe it was about the nuke enrichment of uranium in Iran. I mean, it's not like Israel was fighting against five or six different armies at the same fucking time, and US's support and US's influence in the Middle East was a key factor in all of that. It's not as if like all of that was happening at all. Fucking hell, man.
7/7, 2025. I'm not making this up. Google the timeline.
I'm not making this up.
On July 7th.
You fucking idiot. There was a war happening in the Middle East, and Israel was fighting. Israel was busy fighting your enemies for you without much of your help. It makes sense. Like, it makes sense for Israel to come and talk to its major ally. You fucking idiot. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. It's the Jews. The Jews. It's always the Jews. Let's blame the Jews. Fucking hell. Thank you for the super chat.
7/7/25. Add 2 + 5. I'm not a numerology guy, but it's a little weird. In his third.
Oh my God. You're actually. Oh my God. He's looking for symbols and numbers as well. He's using numerology as well. What, guys? If you're a conspiracy theorist, then why would you think that these powerful elites will actually pick numbers that implicates them even more? Like, are they retarded? Like, do you think why would they actually give up the information? Like, why would they do that to make it more obvious that it was them?
White House for the third time on 7/7, 2025. I'm not making this up. Google the timeline. On July 7th, 7/7/25. Add 2 + 5. I'm not a numerology guy, but it's a little weird.
So it's 7/7, and then 2025, and because it's 25, 2 + 5 is also 7, and that's because that's the day that he visited the United States. That makes it more significant because it's 7/7/7. If that makes it more significant, then why would he not wait Why would he not wait another day so that it doesn't add more information against him? Somebody is saying, yeah. So Chuck is saying, what the fuck does 7/7/25 mean? There's like these conspiracy theories think that the powerful elite and the Illuminati, lizard people, Jews, I don't know, globalists, they pick significant days to do significant things for some reason. They're actually retarded. They're actually retarded.
In his third visit on 7/7 to celebrate bombing Iran, Netanyahu visits the White House. And the day before he arrives, literally the day before, the DOJ announces there are no files, case closed, it's over. Trump, for 3 weeks, engages in damage control. He orders the Speaker of the House to close Congress so they don't get forced by Thomas Massie to compel the release of the files. And now here we are 4 months later after the longest shutdown in history, and we see there are files. Trump's name is all over them. He lied. And now 100 Republicans are going to defect and vote in favor of releasing the rest of the files next week.
Yeah, okay. So did Bibi shut down the American government as well? God, damn it, these people.
This is a crisis of Trump's own making. You have no one to blame but yourself. You can't blame your own base for asking you to do what you promised to do. You can't say that your base doesn't see the bigger picture or they're conspiracy theorists. If you played into that for years, which you did, the chickens have come home to roost now. They leaned into this stuff. They promised it. And you could say they bit off more than they can chew. Then you lied brazenly and openly. You tried to trick people. It didn't work. And now the chickens have come home to roost.
By the way, the Jews in the live chat, the reason probably the numerology is a big deal to Nazis is because they think you guys do black magic and talk to demons and shit. So you need to do things in symbolically significant times, or symbolically, I don't know, something, because numbers and magic for somehow go together. By the way, I'm not making this up. This guy actually wants to execute Jews specifically because they do sorcery and talk to demons. He actually said that.
Then you lied brazenly and openly.
Oh my God, this guy is funny. There's an Israeli in the chat says, "Guess I missed that class in high school." Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have Hogwarts in Israel for all the kids. You didn't get the owl. You didn't get the owl. Okay, you're just a mudblood.
Leaned into this stuff. They promised it. And you could say they bit off more than they can chew. Then you lied brazenly and openly. You tried to trick people. It didn't work. And now the chickens have come home to roost. And here's the issue. This goes to the center of what the Trump revolution is all about. And I've been saying this for weeks and months and years now.
I'm here in the chat saying, "Harry, you're a Jew." Oh my God, that's so good. Amir, you're a genius. I'm like, "Harry, you're a Jew." Guys, somebody make that clip. Somebody make that clip.
This goes to the center of what the Trump revolution is all about. And I've been saying this for weeks and months and years now. The whole idea behind Trumpism, fundamentally, it's an anti-corruption movement. Don't you know that? At the bottom of it, MAGA, it's not really about being conservative. It's not super conservative. It's not about being libertarian. It's not about being Republican. The core of the MAGA message was about anti-corruption. It was an anti-corruption campaign because the first thing that Trump said is, "I'm a self-funder. I'm a billionaire. I'm so rich that I cannot be bought." And what's the implication? The implication is Congress and the president is bought by the money. And they're compromised in all sorts of ways. They're compromised by money and the quid pro quo, those expectations, they're compromised in other ways by blackmail. They're controlled by the media. And so the fundamental premise of Trumpism is I can't be bought, therefore I'm incorruptible. That was the point.
Well, the Jews, again, YouTube, this is not my views. I'm making fun of this. Well, even if you cannot be bought with money, they come and get you with the kiddie stuff. That's what they do. They come and get you. They have the Jews. They have their ways. They have their ways.
If I put up $70 million to run my primary campaign and I'm a billionaire, maybe I could do that in the general. And if I have all small dollar donors, the people can literally overthrow the corrupt government. All the super PACs, all the billionaires, all the money will be against. But if we have one billionaire and a ton of small dollar donors, and maybe some like small business owner, millionaire types, then maybe we really could have a president that isn't beholden to anybody. So that's actually central to the MAGA message. This idea of draining the swamp, it's not like it's one among other things that's critical. And Epstein epitomizes this problem because what is the Epstein playbook? He's got a private island. Why? So that he controls who goes there and he can see everything and record everything that happens. That's the point. There's no jurisdiction. He's got a private island. He's got his townhouse in Manhattan rigged with cameras and microphones. Why? He's in bed with the Israeli government, the British government, the American government. His entire operation is to entice and induce powerful people to let their guard down so that he can compromise them with blackmail and then control them on behalf of some entity. Who even knows? Probably Israeli intelligence. But honestly, who knows?
Of course.
Maybe he's a mercenary. Maybe he worked with Israeli intelligence and British intelligence and or the CIA. Most likely Israeli intelligence. But that
Of course. I mean, why not? Why not? Why not? Let's just why not? Like, I mean, if we're making stuff up, let's just go all the way, right? I mean, guys, do we even need any evidence for any of this? Of course not. But why are these people? I mean, I want to know, you Jews, why is it that with all your spells, how is this guy still like doing his thing? Like, can't you just like do like cast a spell or something? Oh, what happened? Where did it go? I think I did it. Oh no, never mind. Okay.
That gets to the heart of why people don't trust the government. Because people have this idea that the reason America is losing, why are we powerful and rich, but the country's getting worse? It's because of the leadership. The leadership is steering us into the rocks because they're being manipulated. They're being controlled with money or blackmail or by shadowy forces. And so the whole Trump revolution was saying, let's turn the lights on. Let's put the spotlight on this. Let's get back in control of the government. There's no reason we should be failing. Let's fire all the bad people. Let's expose all the criminals, throw the corrupt people in jail, and then we can make Americans' lives better. And people like Epstein would be first on that list, and all of his clients. If Bill Clinton was running with Epstein, we need to get to the bottom of that in fucking public. Needs to be.
The good thing about this conspiracy theory for these people is that given that probably none of this happens, they could basically continue with this forever, right? Because if there is no evidence that incriminates Bill Clinton and Trump, then there will never be anything released that will satisfy these people. So, and their base and the people who support them. So they could continue just using this as a way to just fight the system forever, right? Somebody's saying Epstein was involved with Antarctic mafia. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe, yes, I could check. I mean, I know Epstein was a criminal. I know Epstein was a scumbag that deserved to be in jail forever. So, I mean, I'm not denying that. I don't know exactly the list of crimes that he committed. I know one of them was abusing children, and that was enough for him to deserve to be in jail forever. I'm just saying there's no evidence that shows incriminates people like Clinton or Trump.
on the news.
But guys, the reason why I'm telling you all of this, of course, is because I'm funded by these people, right? Is the jury, the world, the Zionist power at B, they have chosen they have blessed my channel with lots of money to come and protect them, the established order that they have in place, right? But that's actually what some people are saying in the chat, that I've been paid by Zionists. But it's interesting because why did they pick me? Like, I'm not the biggest channel out there, right? Like, and you guys are trying to say like, oh my God, Armin, you're being paid by the Jews to defend them. Like, isn't that like a compliment on this channel? You're saying that the people who are, in your opinion, running the world from the shadows, from behind the scene, they have seen this channel fit as a tool to defend this global evil force that is basically has influence in all the governments and is trying to, it has leveraged all the leaders and powerful people in the world, and their tool to defend themselves is my channel. So I mean, you do understand that you're actually complimenting this channel, but by saying that you think that, I'm actually honored that you think this channel worthy of such a such a work. Like, thank you. Okay, like, okay, sure, why not? Let's just go with that, guys. Let's just go with that. Okay. We got another super chat from Reincarnation Entertainment saying, Fuentes provides no evidence from what I can tell. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't.
There needs to be a full court press. There needs to be the court of public opinion weighing in on whether Bill Clinton was in bed with Epstein.
Oh, so okay, so we got another super chat saying Antarctic Mafia was only joking. Okay, sorry, that joke just woo. Sorry, I sometimes I'm not good at recognizing jokes. Sorry, thank you, but thank you.
And the rest of them, when that sort of thing is going on, it needs to be exposed. So if Trump gets elected and he has a history with Epstein, I'm sure Trump is worried about that. So the Trump government picks him up and then he dies mysteriously. Trump comes back. Now they bury the files. And this is what I said from the start. This is
Basically Russiagate all over again, isn't it? This is basically Russiagate. You know, Trump sometimes does things that I don't like, but I kind of feel bad for the guy. Like, even though he has many policies that I don't like, for example, the tariffs, I don't like the tariffs, but I think there's enough to criticize Trump for. Like, this is like, we had like what was that? The golden shower accusation against Trump, in a hotel in Russia or something, with no evidence. Now it's this. Now apparently he has done stuff to children with no evidence. Like, okay.
so damning for MAGA because it severs the trust between the people and Trump. It says definitively, wow, you're really just like the rest of them, aren't you? You are a fucking criminal. You're a liar. You're a criminal. You engaged in a conspiracy and a cover-up at the highest level, and we just don't know. We can't give you the benefit of the doubt. Epstein is the worst of the worst. He was a sex trafficker. He did traffic underage girls. He was involved with multiple foreign governments. He got...
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, he did traffic. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was guilty. Epstein was guilty. But okay, hold on. We got another super chat saying, Armin Navabi, given your history, I understand why you would support Bibi's desire to coerce the U.S. to support regime change in Iran. It's not coerce. Lobbying is not coercive. But Mossad CIA pimping out American children is unforgivable. Okay, it is unforgivable if it happened. If it did happen, that would be unforgivable. But where's your evidence for that? You need to show evidence before. Let's say claim. You understand making a claim is not actually the same as providing evidence for that claim.
Got his billions under mysterious circumstances.
I mean, guys, like the fact that like, do you actually think that Mossad and CIA, like, they have nothing better to do than pimping out American children? Like, you actually believe that they were involved with that? Like, that's actually insane. That's actually insane. Yeah, okay, sure.
Circumstances. He was involved with the mega group and Jewish billionaires, and you knew him, and you were friends with him, and he died under your watch, and now you're covering it up. So you can show us everything at this point. It will not eradicate the doubt that has been sown in the minds of the people, and you did it to yourself. And to me, that's
by the way, guys, remember the idea of Jews being involved in doing stuff to children is a anti-Semitic trope that goes back thousands of years. You understand that this is basically a continuation of that. You know, sucking children blood, sacrificing them for demons, sacrificing them for sake of magical powers, drinking their blood for youth. And now it's basically, I don't know, sex stuff. This is basically the same old, it goes back to the Roman times. That's what's happening. Oh, hold on. We got another super chat saying Mossad veteran Yoni Koren, a longtime aide to Ehud Barak, lived for weeks at Epstein's Manhattan home between 2013 and 2015, according to House Oversight Committee documents and hacked emails. Okay, and that proves, how does that prove that Mossad was involved in any of this? You found one Jew who was staying at an island that a lot of people were also on. Actually, let me tell you something. There were probably more Jews at that island, because there are probably Jews at every goddamn island that there ever was, especially in Western countries. What the hell? How is that? Do you actually think you provided evidence for the claim that you're making? Do you actually think that's evidence for the claim that you're making? That there's somebody in Israel that was at that island, so that means that Mossad was involved in pimping out American children using Epstein. That's what your evidence is. Okay. But guys, this is the reason why the remaining files shouldn't be released, because anybody at that island is going to be considered guilty, and God forbid if they're Jew, God forbid if they're Jewish, then holy shit. Okay. Oh my God.
It's the end of MAGA. It's over. Trump can do a lot of things and not lose support from his followers. He can bomb Iran and make a justification for why that is in America's interest. I wouldn't say that's even possible, but the cult of personality is strong. And he can bury the jobs report.
Somebody's saying, is this guy Jewish? Hold on. Is this guy Jewish? Yes. Yes, very, very much. I'm very Jewish.
And he can fumble the trade negotiations. He can get away with a lot of policy-related things. There's a lot of room to say that it's hard to reform the system, or that people should manage their expectations. But something like this, something so ugly and which so epitomizes the corruption of the system, which he swore to fight against, for him to be caught on the carpet like this, lying to everybody, how do you come back from that? And that's what's going to happen next week, is Ro Khanna and the Democrats and Thomas Massie and maybe 100 Republicans are going to vote to force the DOJ to release all the files, and who knows what we're going to find. These are some of the things we got.
You will never be satisfied. Even, guys, what are the chances? Tell me in the chat. What are the chances that if they release all the Epstein files and there's zero evidence that Trump was involved in any of this stuff? I mean, his name is there, but it doesn't show that he was actually involved with any of the crimes, that these people are going to be like, oh, okay, I guess he wasn't involved, and they're gonna go home and basically be satisfied. What are the chances that will quiet these people?
Not from the existing Trump.
This is why it doesn't make any sense to release the files, because you are going to put a lot of victims and other innocent people in danger. You're going to mess up with the investigation, but you are also not going to, even with releasing all the files, you're not going to satisfy the people who wanted it released. So there is no win. There's a lot of cost with no win. That's why you shouldn't be releasing them. Yeah, people are saying 0%. So Carl is saying hold on. Mossad didn't set up Epstein pedo ring. Secret services don't operate this way. But did they use him as a source at some point? Probably. Yeah, I mean, if you're a good intelligence, if you're running a good intelligence operations as part of the main intelligence units of a country, like United States or Israel, you should obviously have be your tentacles everywhere, right? You should be able to listen in on people. You should be able to have information on people. You should have files on them. You should use people. And this is not just Israel and United States. This is every country's intelligence operations needs to be like this. Germany's, Canada's, China, Russia. Like, how could you call yourself a serious intelligence unit of a major country if there are powerful people in business or in politics that have some relationship to your country, and you're not observing them and you're not looking them as an asset at some point to basically get information from, or use them to transfer information from somebody to another person, or use their connections in some way. Obviously, that's how intelligence operations in every country work. Just because your intelligence operations of a country has information on people and has connection to people in case at some point those connections are important, that doesn't mean that anything nefarious is happening here. That doesn't mean that's just the normal way of doing intelligence operations. That's not wrong. And and if you find evidence that, like, oh my God, they had connection to him there, and this person for him was seen at a meeting with him over there, none of this shows that Mossad was involved in selling out children. None of this shows that. That just means Mossad is doing what every other country's intelligence unit does. That's what it means. That's the only thing it means.
This is a couple of emails. One of them, this is from, I believe, Daily Mail. It says, during a November 2017 email chain with Epstein, Faith Cates, who co-founded a modeling agency, asked the financier where he was spending Thanksgiving. After a few exchanges, she asked, who else is there? Epstein replied, David Fizel, Hansen, Trump. November 2017.
Oh my God.
That's Trump's first Thanksgiving in the White House.
And what does that prove?
You telling me that Donald Trump had Thanksgiving dinner with Jeffrey Epstein when he was the president?
Okay. Does that mean that he did things to children?
Are you kidding me? That is what is in the files, the 20,000 emails that were released yesterday.
Okay, thank you for proving why we shouldn't be releasing the rest. Because Epstein Epstein standing next to people is going to mean that person basically did abuse children.
We don't even have all of them. And this Department of Justice said the files didn't exist. And they knew.
Look, somebody in the chat is saying, you scared? Guys, I bet you if I continue doing this, they're going to say I was in the files. Okay. I bet you if I continue addressing this issue, at some point people are going to come into this chat and be like, Armin's names is in the files.
Knew that this was in them? Really? How do you expect anybody to ever trust the Trump government ever again?
I mean, you guys are anti-establishment. It's not like you trusted the government before. This is not a loss.
You think that you had the right to bury this? Wouldn't that be pretty relevant if Donald Trump, as the newly elected president, sat down for Thanksgiving, his first one in office, with Jeffrey Epstein, after his labor secretary, Alex Acosta, recently appointed, was the one that gave Epstein the sweetheart deal 10 years prior? That's not in the public interest. That's a non-existent file. You think the public has no right to know? Why do you think they buried the files? It's because this stuff is all over, and this isn't even all of it. Of course, now we need to see all of it. Of course, now we need to get to the bottom of it. If they were hiding this and they lied about this, that this even existed, what else are they lying about? What else has been destroyed? This is what exists. This is what they did not shred.
See, I told guys, I didn't actually pre-watch this. What has been destroyed? What has been destroyed? That means, you know what that means? That means if they release everything, they're going to be like, obviously, this is not everything because you have destroyed the rest. That's why there is no point in releasing the remaining files, because they're going to think that you haven't released all the files, even if you do.
Understand, Epstein was arrested 20 years ago. You think all those documents are intact? This is what is left. This is out of the 20,000 files that were released of what is left. You expect the people to trust the Trump government after that? That's like something Trump needs to be subpoenaed for that. Like, obviously, Trump needs to be subpoenaed by Congress. Did you have Thanksgiving dinner with Jeffrey Epstein?
So Chuck is saying Armin finally gets it. What are you talking about? I always get it.
Under penalty of perjury, did you have Thanksgiving dinner with Jeffrey Epstein when you were president? Which Trump was Epstein talking about? The public needs to know that, actually. Can this be corroborated? Does he have an alibi? Is this what it's really come to? How sad is that? After Bill Clinton's indiscretion and his corruption, after George W. Bush and the lie in Iraq, after Obama and all of his corruption, Fast and Furious, the Biden administration, their censorship, the COVID vax, all the lies that happened, the lie that was his presidency, that he was even in control. Is this really what it's come to?
What is the solution, guys? Is obviously Groyper's taking over the White House.
That Trump is covering this up, lying about it. Now we have to haul his fat ass before a congressional committee and have him testify under oath that he didn't have dinner with Epstein as president?
It wasn't illegal to have dinner with Epstein.
If that doesn't paint a picture for you of what a sad state of affairs this is, I don't know what does. I don't know what other argument can be made. How pathetic that is. Does that not completely betray the fundamental spirit of what this whole thing is about, which is that for 35 years, we don't even know who's in control?
It's the Jews. The Jews. We like. Of course you do. Of course, it's the Jews. The Jews are in control.
And maybe even longer.
Nick, how do you not know your own conspiracy theory? You know who's in control.
Longer than that,
guys. The Jews,
I mean, realistically, ever since JFK.
The Jews in the chat. You should like say my name. Why are you afraid of saying my name? Oh, Shauna, thank you for the super chat. Shauna saying, meanwhile, kids are trafficked across the southern border daily due to the cartels. This is just an attempt to take over MAGA, turn it into the woke right, and turn it into the woke right. Yes, perfectly said, Shauna. That was a perfectly said statement. I love you for saying that. Thank you.
Is about, which is that for 35 years, we don't even know who's in control. And maybe even longer than that. I mean, realistically, ever since JFK was shot in the head, we have no idea who's running this country. There is no sense of legitimacy. There is no faith in the institutions. And why would there be when they always lie and conspire? And when they're always wrapped up in things like this? And Trump is no different. We elected Trump as a reaction to Obama. Obama was elected as a reaction to Bush. What comes after this?
Me. Say it. Me. It's me. Guys, can you imagine this being a president one day? Is that possible? What are the chances that the face that you're looking at is the future president of the United States? Can you imagine that happening?
And people wonder why I have an appeal. People say, why does this guy have any kind of appeal? Because this is what we had been treated to for my entire life since I was born. That has been the United States.
But guys, remember, if you say no way, remember one day people said the exact same thing about Trump. Remember that.
States of America, I was have any kind of appeal because this is what we had been treated to for my entire life since I was born. That has been the United States of America. I was born in the middle of the Monica Lewinsky scandal, right into 9/11 and the Iraq war, right into Obama, and then all of this. That's why. And every other Generation Z, Gen Alpha feels the same way. Here's the other interesting email. A 2011 email sent by Jeffrey Epstein says that U.S. President Trump spent...
Was Nick Fuentes born in Mexico? Or was he born in the U.S.?
Hours with one of the victims. The email was sent to Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. It said, quote, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump.
No, guys, you say he's Mexican. He's born in the U.S. He was born in the U.S., so he can be president.
The victim spent hours at my to Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. It said, quote, I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. The victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, Epstein wrote. It's not clear what Epstein was referring to. The email was sent to Maxwell 2 years after Epstein spent 13 months in prison for sex crimes. He describes Trump as the dog that hasn't barked. The dog that hasn't barked. He knew and apparently was present for an extended period of time, maybe on the island where Epstein was assaulting his underage victims.
I mean, what does the dog that hasn't barked mean? I mean, if he had a client list, wouldn't a dog that hasn't barked mean that he's not a customer? I don't know.
These are the files that Trump knew about, knew his name was in, lied anyway, told us they didn't exist, told them they're fake, it's a hoax, we're falling for it, I don't want your vote. He cries out in pain. Watch how he recoils. Is this how MAGA dies? And think about it. You know, and on some level, here's what's really sad. You want to know what's really sad? On some level, there would be so much more good faith and goodwill, or maybe even a willingness to give Trump the benefit of the doubt if things were going differently, but they're not. There are no mass deportations. 50-year mortgages, H-1B visas. We need the labor, they say. 600,000 Chinese students. We're bombing Iran. We're bombing Yemen. We're building a
I mean, wait, well, let me actually go through the list.
Or maybe even a willingness to give Trump the benefit of the doubt if things were going differently, but they're not. There are no mass deportations.
Okay, so the mass deportations, I think the solution to mass migration is to just go and arrest the employers of illegal migrants, and then make sure that every single employer and company that hires them is scared. Like, don't just find them, arrest them, as make it a crime, and that you could actually arrest people for and give them prison sentence for. If you do that, the incentive for mass migration to the United States will drop to below zero, and many of the already existing ones will leave themselves, right? And it would be a lot cheaper. And a lot of people will support that, because if you go and send ICE to, arrest moms in front of their children, that's not good for it's not going to be good, look good on TV. But if you go after CEOs who are hiring illegal immigrants, people don't give a shit about, if you go after corporations, people don't sympathize with them. And then you remove the incentive, because you remove the magnet, and then you don't even need to do mass deportation, because without the incentive, they would just leave themselves. So just go and arrest anybody in any company that is involved in hiring illegal immigrants, and if you just put a few of them in jail, then the rest will immediately stop doing this because they don't want to go to jail. This is how you fix the mass migration problem.
50-year mortgages, H-1B visas.
50-year mortgages. I don't even understand why the government has anything, why the government in the US is involved in deciding how long the mortgages can be. I don't understand that. Like, shouldn't that be the private sector's decision?
Give Trump the benefit of the doubt if things were going differently, but they're not. There are no mass deportations. 50-year mortgages, H-1B visas. We need the labor.
Trump is correct about H-1B visas. Like, it needs reforms, but you can't get rid of them. United States, you need to get rid of mass migration. You get rid of unskilled migration. You need to get rid of migration from problematic countries, especially Islamic countries. But you need some migration, and the H-1B visa, if reformed and done properly, not the way it is right now, but if it done right properly, you could get the best of the best from the world. And that getting the best of the best from the world is the reason why United States has become one of the greatest, the greatest country on earth. So you should not stop that. So Trump is correct about that, and you're wrong.
Bit of the doubt if things were going differently, but they're not. There are no mass deportations. 50-year mortgages, H-1B visas. We need the labor, they say. 600,000 Chinese students. We're bombing Iran. We're bombing Yemen.
Yeah, you're bombing the nuclear sites of the Islamic Republic was the right thing to do. Bombing the Houthis also, who are interrupting international trade, is also the right thing to do.
We're building a military base in Gaza. They're getting ready.
Yeah, that's not the right thing to do. You should just let Israel does better. Building a military base in Gaza, you should just support Israel. They know how to take care of Gaza. You should just keep supporting your ally Israel, and also stop standing in their way and just giving them the green light to do whatever they need to do in Gaza. That's the solution for Gaza. United States doesn't need to get involved in Gaza. You just need to support your ally. They know what to do best.
H-1B visas. We need the labor, they say. 600,000 Chinese students. We're bombing Iran. We're bombing Yemen.
Oh, yes. Chinese students, yeah, I agree with that. China is taking advantage of the student visa to bring in a whole bunch of people who are more loyal to the CCP, and a lot of them are actually very dangerous. So yeah, you should actually, I agree. I finally found something that I agree with Nick. That's the problem. You need to fix it.
And goodwill, or maybe even a willingness to give Trump the benefit of the doubt if things were going differently, but they're not. There are no mass deportations.
Okay.
50-year mortgages, H-1B visas. We need the labor, they say. 600,000 Chinese students. We're bombing Iran. We're bombing Yemen. We're building a military base in Gaza. They're getting ready to give Israel $40 billion more.
Oh, good. I support that. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump. That's not enough. That's a steal. You get so much more benefit from anything. Everything you give to Israel, United States gets 10 times more back. The return on investment on supporting Israel for United States is the best. So, investing in Israel by the United States has the highest return on investment. For every dollar you support Israel for, United States gets so much more than 10 back. Shauna with a super chat saying Americans have no idea how bad our education has become. Yes, 54% of Americans have less than a sixth grade reading level. We need people to train us. Yeah, but true, Shauna. But even if that wasn't the case, you still benefit. Even if United States had the best education, there will still be room for more. You're not going to be able to produce if United States is on one side. Like, let's say you have the best people, right? Obviously there's room for more, and obviously you want the best of the world to be added to the best of the US. Like, why wouldn't you have, wouldn't you, if you have them, imagine if you have produced the top 1,000 genius people in the world because of you have such a great education system. If the world has produced another 1,000 top genius scientists or whatever, obviously having them added to your country is a benefit. Okay, I'm not talking about mass migration. I'm not talking about bringing terrorists. I'm not talking about bringing low skilled workers. Obviously, the best of the world coming to your country, even if you had the best, but obviously that's a net benefit. Obviously, adding that, making sure United States is the best place for the smartest people in the world is good for Americans. I mean, that's obvious.
If Trump were delivering on the real victories for Americans, maybe there'd be some benefit of the doubt. Maybe, and you can think this is good or not good, maybe there'd be more of a willingness to overlook this if there was success. But this is only the cherry on top. This is only the best part. Not only are we not winning, the deficit is exploding, corporate tax cuts for the rich, bombs in Iran for Israel.
Oh, guys, look at this is the horseshoe. This is the horseshoe right here. Corporate tax cuts for the rich. Yeah, that's a good thing, you fucking moron. Are you a leftist now? Are you a fucking leftist now? Do you understand that that's good for your economy? Do you know that actually increase the rate of your economic growth? Tax cut for corporations and for people who are actually producing wealth for your countries. That's actually a good thing. My God, he's a leftist. Look at this. The far right is talking like a leftist. This is the horseshoe theory right here.
And you can think this is good or not good. Maybe there'd be more of a willingness to overlook this if there was success. But this is only the cherry on top. This is only the best part. Not only are we not winning, the deficit is exploding, corporate tax cuts for the rich, bombs.
Corporate tax cut is not just for the rich, you fucking moron. Average people hold, the pension, you know what pension funds are filled with? With stocks of these corporations. Do you know corporate tax cuts means cheaper products and higher income for employees? It's not just the rich who benefit from this.
In Iran for Israel, foreign aid for Israel, foreign aid for Ukraine.
It's not really aid because you're getting all of that back. This is a mutual cooperation. It's not foreign aid for Israel when all of that money and more is coming back to the United States. It's actually more it's actually, here's the thing. There is no foreign aid to Israel. The foreign aid is to America from Israel. Israel is giving you foreign aid because Israel is giving you more than what United States is giving Israel. So you're getting the foreign aid. And Israelis have the right. Israelis have more of a right to be angry than Americans. Israelis, you are actually at the better end of this deal. They're giving more, fighting your enemies, you motherfucker. You're giving some money, which all of it comes back to the United States. They're giving their blood, fighting your enemies while you guys are watching from the distance. They're the ones who should be pissed off at you. They're the ones who are giving you foreign aid. Oh, wait, we got another super chat. Drew said Amir Odom was a part of Turning Point and did a positive review on Fentis recently. Holy shit, really? What the fuck? I mean, Turning Point USA has been completely conquered by groypers now. It's over. Nick Fuentes is right that he took the Turning Point USA. He took Charlie's baby and he fucked it. That's what he said. It's all fucked.
It's endless like this. The cheap labor for agriculture and cheap labor for big tech. It's endless. The failures are endless and they're piling up. It's that. And then on top of it, there's no transparency and rampant corruption. And obviously these things go together.
Says the man who supports Hitler.
Why do you think it is? Here's the question. Why do you think it is? Let's once again consider the timeline. Elon Musk enters the Oval Office for the last time in the middle of May with a black eye. Remember that? Or did that get memory hold? Elon Musk steps into the Oval Office for the final time in the middle of May with a giant black eye.
Does he think that Trump beat up Elon?
Trump later commented that Elon was offered makeup to cover it up, But Trump cryptically said he refused the makeup because he wanted people to see it. Real quote, look that up. Elon said that his baby son hit him in the face and gave him a black eye. He was punched by little X.
I mean, if he wanted people to see it, then why wouldn't he just say what happened? Why would he lie? Like, make up your conspiracy theory. Did he want people to know the truth or didn't he? And if he did, then why would he say that it was my son that did it?
The toddler who gave him a black eye. Grown man, this is, by the way.
Grown man? Like, have you seen little kids? Have you seen little kids moving around their toy cars like it's like not with no concern about who's going to hit?
And do you remember how that meeting went? It didn't go well. And when Elon left the Oval Office, he went on Twitter and said the reason Trump will not release the Epstein files is because he is in them. Remember that? What happened a week after those comments? Israel bombed Iran. A week after that happened, after that little dust up, Israel bombed Iran. A week after Israel bombed Iran, the United States joined in and bombed Iran. The war started on June 13th, 613. You know, there's 613 commandments in the Mishnah. The Jews believe there are 613 commandments in the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. So on June 13th, they launched the war.
Oh my God! It's the numbers again. What is it with Nazi? What is it with Nazis and numerology? Can somebody tell me what the fuck? Why are these people obsessed with making these connections? Like, is this a Nazi obsession with like numerology, like with with Jews and numbers?
States joined in and bombed Iran. The war started on June 13th, 613. You know, there's 613 commandments in the Mishnah. The Jews believe there are 613 commandments.
By the way, I couldn't actually find anything that says that there's no credible quote of Elon actually saying I didn't cover it with makeup because I wanted people to see this. So I think he's making that up. I could double check. Should I double check? I think he's making that up because there's no credible source for that.
Commandments.
Because he just says go. He said that's a real quote. Look it up. And you know, guys, here's a trick. When you tell people that's a real quote, that's a real thing, go look it up. This is what happens. Because you said that, they will believe you and they won't look it up.
Started on June 13th, 613. You know, there's 613 commandments in the Mishnah. The Jews believe there are 613 commandments.
Okay, I'll take it back. Apparently, he did say that. If I'm proven wrong, I will accept that right away. I'm not going to resist being corrected ever. Okay, I'm never going to resist being corrected. So I was wrong. I just found it. He did actually say that. Okay, so there you go.
Started on June 13th, 613. You know, there's 613 commandments in the Mishnah. The Jews believe there are 613 commandments in the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. So on June 13th, they launched the war. The United States entered a week later. And then when Bibi Netanyahu came to visit the White House to celebrate the end of the war on 7/7, July 7th, it was before that visit that the DOJ released their memo announcing that the Epstein files did not exist and there would be no further investigation.
Yeah. I mean, guys, you Jews and the Jews in the chat, you guys should stop it with like doing your crimes with like on specific days that is relevant to your Jewish beliefs. Like, why are you doing this? Like, you do understand that the whole like then people are going to know that it was you. Like, isn't that stupid? Can you try to commit these crimes? By the way, I'm joking. Commit these crimes on days not associated with your, I don't know, with Torah or Talmud or anything, so that people like if you're trying to hide your crimes, then why would you pick those days? Okay, it makes no sense. But okay, so and also Carl is saying in the chat, Nazis and numbers, anti-Semitism is an esoteric salvation cult. Oh, anti-Semitism is an esoteric salvation cult. Works good with number magic. Yeah, and people love it because here's what I think, Carl. What I think is that when you add this numerology to it, then people feel like they have these secrets. It's just so interesting and mysterious, and you also feel so special for making these connections that the rest of the world is not aware of. And then you could, when you talk to other people, like, oh my god, there's something to talk about. You feel like you have been, it reveals certain secrets that the rest of society is not seeing. It's just such a powerful way, like symbols and numbers and ancient secrets and secret societies. It's just a really powerful way to make you feel like you're a very special person.
It's interesting timing, wouldn't you say? Interesting bookends.
Somebody saying, Armin, your Hasbara isn't worth 7,000. I completely agree. I think it was worth double that. That's why I charge 14. I completely agree with you. This is why they send me double the rate.
Elon comes in with the black eye and goes out saying Trump is in the files. A week later, the war starts, and Israel successfully goads the United States into finally bombing Fordo, something they wanted for 20 years, which Trump did not want to do. And then when Netanyahu comes to visit and celebrate his third visit, the completion of the war, what he wanted since Trump got into office, maybe why Netanyahu got Trump into office, it's on 7/7 that the files are buried. You think all that's a big coincidence?
No,
And
of
what
course
this
not.
obviously points at, what everybody knows, is that probably he is compromised in some way by the files. Who knows what's in them? Who knows what the Israelis have? The U.S. government has files. The Israeli government has files. Epstein and his allies in the Israeli government, you think that Israel doesn't have information on Epstein and who Epstein knew? Maybe we have some of the files. Maybe Israel has other files. Who knows?
Yeah, people in the chat are saying Bibi is actually God. Guys, why are you fighting Jews at all? If the Jews have managed to actually decide who's the U.S. president, like there is no fighting this. That these are too powerful of the people to fight against. You might as well just give up if they have this much influence.
Why do you think it was timed that way? Maybe they sent Trump a message. Maybe they sent Elon a message. But this is the kind of stuff that we voted for Trump because we hated to see. It's weird. It's creepy. It doesn't make sense. It seems to go all the way to the top. People having black eyes, conspiracies, outright lies about sex trafficking, pedophile scandals on secret islands, wars in the Middle East that nobody wants over a nuclear program that doesn't exist.
Yeah, Carl is saying that's what I told some Nazis in my debate with Nazis. Carl was saying exactly, if they're so powerful, they are the master race. You guys, yeah, I mean, how are you guys? How are you the master race if you're so pathetically weak and they're so powerful?
Isn't this why we elected Trump? Think about it. In 2016, Trump said the war in Iraq was a mistake. Your brother let 9/11 happen. That's not keeping us safe. They knew there were weapons of mass destruction. There weren't any. We don't even have it. Remember that? Trump was literally elected in the primary contra George W. Bush and the initial false pretense to get us into a 20-year war in Iraq, which was WMDs. Now here we are, another war.
Which has this one, actually, we have proof that they are going nuclear. So there's a big difference here.
Under false pretenses over WMDs, nuclear weapons.
This does not, like, this has been proven. This has been proven. Like, maybe you should do your research before you embarrass yourself.
And now we have the files coming out. It all stinks. And it's like, what? here's the question that everybody is now asking.
Guys, like, don't believe that the Islamic Republic is trying to get their hands on nuclear weapon. They're just enriching uraniums up to 60%, just for the fun of it. Like, it's true that non-military uses of enrichment of uranium is basically stops under around 4%, a little bit under 4%. And there is no utility for enriching up to 60% other than having nuclear weapons. So given that the Islamic Republic is not trying to get nuclear weapons, they're just like, hey, it's just fun. We're just having fun. We're just going all the way up to 60% just because it's just fun enriching uranium. Isn't this fun? Isn't it fun enriching uranium up to 60%? We're having fun, right? There's no other reason. Obviously, we're not trying to get a nuclear weapon.
After all this, what can we possibly do next so that we get a different outcome? Because Trump was elected because he was so radical, so outside the Beltway, so different, so unconventional, so direct, and not politically correct. Like, he was elected because...
Yeah, it's so cheap as well. Yeah, and it's so cheap, so we could just do it for shits and giggles. Yes, exactly. And the sanctions that we get for enriching uranium up to 60%, in secret, like it also in secret places that the IAEA cannot find, like in the places that we agreed not to enrich uranium. We're doing that because we're just being sneaky, and the sanctions that has basically bankrupted our country just makes it extra fun. We're doing all of this. We're doing all of this risk. We're doing all of it in hidden places that the IAEA has come out and said that there are sites that enrichment uranium is happening that is outside of the areas that we were observing. And all of this has brought sanctions upon the Islamic Republic. And they're doing this just because they just like to do it for to be different from other countries, right? None of this is to get an atomic bomb. They just want to. They just like a challenge. They just like it's just not fun like being like other countries. Let's make this whole running a state a little bit more challenging. How about that?
Because we thought he would turn Washington upside down. What can we possibly do to get a different outcome? You elect Bush, you get a war. You elect Obama, you get a war. You elect Trump, you get a war. Biden, a war.
Yeah, you need fucking wars because the world is a very hostile place, and you need to fuck up the people who are trying to mess it up. When you have a world order and some states and some terrorist groups are trying to mess with it, you need to fuck them up. And that means you need war. What are you, a pacifist?
So what do we have to do? Who do we actually have to elect to set something right? And then people say, why is Nick Fuentes popular? Why do people say Nick Fuentes should run for president? I'm not going to run for president.
Oh my God.
In part because I'm too young. But
in part because I'm too young. This guy is going to run for president when he's not too young. Shit, guys. Holy shit. We are fucked. We are so fucked.
It's like, why do you think people are embracing this show? Why do you think people are embracing this? Because they will take an edgelord over a sex criminal. They will.
Yeah, BT Jr. in the chat saying you should have stopped there. You should have like, oh my, I'm not going to run for president. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. In part because I'm too young. That means I'm not going to do it now. Shit. Oh, we're fucked.
Right. And then people say, why is Nick Fuentes popular? Why do people say Nick Fuentes should run for president? I'm not going to run for president.
He's just planting the seed of the idea of him being president. Did you see what he just did there? Like, oh, why are people saying that I should run for president? He's just planting the seed in his followers' minds that maybe one day he will be president.
In part because I'm too young. But it's like, why do you think people are embracing this show? Why do you think people are embracing this? Because they will take an edgelord over a sex criminal. They will take an edgelord. Yes, as a matter of fact, they will tolerate a racist They will tolerate someone who they consider to be odious over somebody who is raping our country and selling out our country and compromised by the worst people in the world to give us war. It's the most evil shit imaginable. You're covering up a child sex trafficking ring because you're implicated in it. And the consequence of this is you have to give Israel missiles to murder children by the millions and drag your own country into another war, the very kind of war that you ran to stop. Like, there's layers of evil here. Sex crimes and murder and conspiracy and treachery and deceit.
Says a Nazi, a Hitler-loving, Stalin-loving Nazi. Wow.
All of it. And people are so disgusted and furious. And they're just, I'm telling you, the people of the country are furious. You think I'm angry? I'm at least a little.
You don't like it when is he going to turn green? You think I'm angry? You don't like it when I get angry. He's going to turn green, isn't he?
Cheerful. The people of this country are furious. They are beside themselves. How much longer and how much more of this do you think people will tolerate? How much more of it do you think people will take? How many more weird school shootings and weird assassination attempts, sex trafficking rings, wars? How much more of this do you think people will take? How many more dead Charlie Kirks, weird stuff going on around that? How much more of that do you think people can take before they're ready to vote for something really radical? Something destabilizing?
Oh my God. Holy shit. I mean, he's right about that. This is probably going to happen. I mean, I don't know, but it is likely.
That's where this is all going.
Yeah,
all of it.
I know.
You know, we want a fucking country. We don't want to be invaded by 10 million illegals in 4 years. We don't want to go to war with Iran over fake nuclear weapons. We don't want a government that's apparently in bed with child sex traffickers. Is it too much to ask? Are those unreasonable demands? Am I a Nazi?
Yes, you are a Nazi. But by the way, guys, please understand, if the US gets fucked with these people, then the world gets fucked. It's not just going to stay in the US. This is all of our concerns.
Fake nuclear weapons. We don't want a government that's apparently in bed with child sex traffickers. Is it too much to ask? Are those unreasonable demands? Am I a Nazi?
Yeah.
For saying this?
Yes.
Seriously.
Do you not consider yourself a Nazi? You love Hitler.
10 million illegals in 4 years? A war with Iran over nuclear weapons that don't even exist.
They don't even exist because Israel stopped it every time they were getting close, you fucking idiot. We know it doesn't exist. They're trying to get it.
Is that a joke?
You're a joke.
Epstein files being buried? Aren't you the guy that was going to stop all this? Who are you? It's like, what is this, Bill Clinton and George Bush put together? I mean, we elected Trump as a repudiation of the legacy of all these presidents. He's all of them rolled into one. He's a warmonger like Bush. He's a sex criminal like Bill Clinton. He's demented like Joe Biden. We elected him to repudiate these presidents. He's all of them put together. And we can't even deport illegal aliens. We're deporting anti-Semites.
Oh, good. You're deporting anti-Semites?
America's a sleeping giant. And this is why we want to wake up the country. The country's furious. There's anger. There's so much potential energy in the country. And all it's going to take, watch. It's going to be a crisis. It'll be maybe a mass casualty event.
Oh, shit.
Economic meltdown. World War III will pop off, you know, whether it's in the Taiwan Strait or it's in Iran or it's, you know, but the war is coming. All of these things are hurtling towards us. And then it's going to explode and a sleeping giant will wake up. America will wake up. And I just hope that we have a benevolent tyrant. I just hope that whoever that tyrant is, whoever emerges, whether it will be of the
Say, you mean yourself. Say me.
the left or of the right. I just hope
he actually he doesn't believe in democracy. He wants to be a tyrant.
all of these things are hurtling towards us. And then it's going to explode, and a sleeping giant will wake up. America will wake up. And I just hope that we have a benevolent tyrant. I just hope that whoever that tyrant is, whoever emerges, whether it will be of the left or of the right, I just hope that tyrant will be benevolent, because that's kind of the last card that we have to play here. It's like, what if everything blew up and some forceful warlord seized power, like we're at French Revolution levels of.
Guys, the commies and the wokes want to destroy the entire establishment. See, this is the woke right wants to destroy the whole world order as well. Fantastic.
Chaos and dysfunction. You know, the late czarist Russia levels of dysfunction. That's clearly where this is headed. And by the way, I don't say this because I want that to happen. I don't say this because I think that will be good. I think it will be horrifying. And I think it's preventable. But Trump was the opportunity to stop all this, and it didn't happen. So I say that with great sadness and wariness. But I feel like that's where we're headed. I've been telling you that. So that's the Epstein files. Heavy stuff, man. It's not a joke. Trump would not be so hell-bent on covering it up if he wasn't worried about what was in it. And who would be compelling the release of this if it was not some sort of lever to use against Trump? And for what? Something evil, obviously, of course, something that the people don't want. They capture the flag and they get the government to go against the people. This is a story from the start.
All right, guys, let's go to our own community and talk about this. Let me actually put the link in the chat. Come join this community, and then I put the link in the chat. It's school.com/world liberty, and then come to the calendar section and come join this group call for today. We could just go here and discuss all of this together over there, and you get to open your mic and speak to the rest of us, and I will listen to what you guys have to say. And also, if you want, I will give you my opinion. You could ask questions, you could just come and listen, or you could give your opinion. And again, I put the link in the chat one more time. Once you join the community here, then come at the top, look at the calendar section, go to today's event, and then you get the link to come join our group call, and you could have a discussion over there. Okay, so I'll see you guys there. Don't forget to like the stream, and and subscribe if you're new here.
Strong.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys there. I'm gonna go get ready for that. Love you guys, and until next stream, I'm Israel Chai, Javicha.